Hello, 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 this is Wogawell and I have something very, very awesome to show you. Now, what I'm about to show you did take me quite some time to build. 3 days to be exact. So, check this out. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a factory. And what this factory makes is lunchboxes. We're going to go to the top and we're going to check it out. So here we are at the top of the factory, and as you can see, I've got 3 builders running, each pointing into the center of this, we'll say pit, but we'll get into that later on. Now each of these builders are configured to create vault-tec lunchboxes. Why vault-tec lunchboxes? Because they cost 3 steel, they're relatively cheap, and it's what's inside that counts. So here is our finished product. This is what we want to make, vault-tec lunchboxes. Now they're valued at 10, but like I said before, it's what's inside that matters. We want to get what's inside, which can range from a pencil to Nuka-Cola Quantum. Now, using these machines, we can build a huge amount of these things, and they're all going to fall down into this pit here. Now, the way you make your money, obviously, is what's inside. Now, I have to give a shout out to Skooled Zone for his excellent video idea on basically the premise behind this video. That you build the lunchboxes and then you have to open them up and find what's inside, and you can make a profit that way. Now, I've taken it and brought it to the next level. So with this factory, the idea is these builders create the lunchboxes, but they're fueled by these hoppers, so it makes it easier for me. I could go and populate each individual builder myself, no problem, that's easy. But I've set it up so that if I come up here, I can open this up and fill this up with steel, the basic components. So we're going to create 100 lunchboxes, or well, we'll go for a bit more than that. So I'll put the 500 steel in here, and these machines should start sucking it up and spitting it out, sending them, each of them, down to the builders. Now what the builders will do as a result, will start spewing out lunchboxes, as you'll see shortly. And the steel comes in at a rate that allows a lunchbox to be created basically every tick, we'll say. And then these lunchboxes all fall down here into this hole. And like I said before, getting inside can be a bit tricky because you have to shoot them, bash them, hit them, whatever, and it can take some time. So what I've actually got down here, you'll see shortly, once this starts to fill up a bit, is I've got a fragmentation mine launcher. And what it's going to do is, because it's such a confined space down here, with the lunchboxes being created, what's going to happen is the fragmentation mine will fire into this hallway, opening all the lunchboxes. Well, at least that's the idea. So we're going to see that in action shortly. So I'm going to let this fill up a bit more and skip ahead.
2,000 years later.
Alright, awesome. Some time has passed and a lot more lunchboxes have fallen down the hole. I've added a lot of my own steel also, so there's going to be a lot more than the 500 steel lunchboxes. We're going to go down the hole and see and take a look. So as you can see, there's a nice pile of them building up down here, ready for the next stage. So we have a power door here, and there's a switch on the other side of this power door. Wow, there's a lot of them up there as well. There's a switch on the other side of this power door that opens up this door, and it allows the lunchboxes to flow down inside. Now we don't want the lunchboxes to flow in this state. We obviously want them in an open state. That's what this is for, and I'll show you that next. So here's the fun bit. Down there where the door was, this is what you see. This is a Fragment Launcher. So what it's going to do is I hit this switch and it's going to fire a Fragmine down into that hole and hopefully open a ton of the lunchboxes. Almost said loot boxes, but whatever. So it fires a grenade. Bit of lag there. We're going to fire another one for good measure. That's always a good sign when it lags. That means there's a nice chunk of lunchboxes down there ready to go. And one more. Boom, there we go, very nice. So I do have to mention that this factory took no mods. As you can see, it's on the console version. The only thing it does have is obviously the contraptions workshop, and I use the vault um, sort of backdrop for it, but it's not essential. The vault is not an essential part of this at all. It just makes things easier when snapping things together. So we're going to take a look down where that door is, or where that door was, and open it up and see what we get. So now we're going to open that door and then head downstairs and figure out what we got from the lunchboxes. The door is now open. I'm going to run down here. Hit this. And we're going to run in, and you can see lunchboxes are falling down, the open ones. And if we open this up, we can see 7 baseballs, a bubble gum, gumdrops, noodle cup, pen, pencil, plastic forks, all sorts of junk, and 55 more lunchboxes. So I'm going to take these lunchboxes, and basically we can recycle them. We can see up there are a number of lunchboxes. I might launch another grenade and see what the results are. I haven't tried that, but as you can imagine, when this is filled up, it starts to push its own self down, and you don't get this kind of jamming when it's more full. But we're going to launch another grenade and see what happens. We're back here again. We're going to launch another grenade down there just to unclog that. There we go. You can see all those nice lunch boxes opening up. And we're going to go back downstairs and check out what we found. Now that's more like it. See, we got lots of messy items flying all over the place. Plastic forks, all sorts. And what we're going to do is we're going to check and see what we got now this time. More baseballs, more bubble gum, Nuka-Cola this time. See, that's one thing you do want. But as you can see, the majority of the items we got this time around have been quite low in value. But you do get lucky a lot of the time. Now, we've got how many lunch boxes spare? We have got 155, because I believe the open ones come back through and they count as unopened. So what we do with those is, I'll show you. Now if you remember at the very beginning, there was a hopper here, an unused hopper at the time, but it does have a use. So when you get all those lunch boxes from downstairs, you shove them all back in here, all 155 of them. Take a step back, wait a few seconds. It's going to take a lot longer than I expect, I think, as it always does. As it always does. There we go. And it'll start spitting those lunch boxes back into the hole again. All 155 of them. And they're all closed. So even the open ones will come back into the conveyor again and be reused. So you can just keep doing this over and over and over and over, and just keep opening them with the grenades. That's the only cost of functioning, really, is the grenades. But you make that back quite quickly. If you can fill up that hole, then you're good to go. Stick around and I'll show you the entire tower, how I built it, my methods. But for now, for those of you that are just here for the trick, it can be done on consoles, PCs, no mods. Simple as that, really. And you don't have to use the large scale I did. I made it quite large scale. You could just build it with even one builder, or you could even build it with more builders. I just sort of did a medium sized build. But yeah, you could build it with more builders. You didn't even need to hop these whatever you call them, the vacuum hoppers. You don't need those necessarily. You can just put the steel in yourself. It doesn't need to be floored. It can just be, you know, into a hole of some sort. And I would recommend doing something like this on Abernathy Farm, because you have the biggest build space out of any of the areas. So with that, I'm going to cut to basically the build of this thing from the floor down. I'm going to take a level by level walkthrough. And before I go, of course, I have to say thank you to Skooled Zone again. with his no mod shop class video that gave me the idea for this. I'm going to leave a link to his video in the description. You can see where I'm coming from, and he has a very straightforward way of doing this, and explains some of the techniques behind it also. Very good video, very enjoyable, very good guy to watch. I watch a lot of his videos. But yeah, with that, let's go through the tower itself. So here we are on the farm again. We can see the factory in the sky. One thing I will do is obviously build some pylons or something to make this look less floaty, but it does kind of look like it's sort of structurally sound with the elevators. But I incorporated the building itself to get it off the ground so that any raiders attacking wouldn't interrupt with the factory runnings itself and wouldn't damage any of the generators while I was there. I just wanted to keep it away from the sort of the wasteland itself. But as you can see, I've got an elevator structure system that goes all the way to the top. Unfortunately, because it's only 1 to 4 floors, I had to build different elevators once you get to the 4th, 3rd and 4th floor respectively. So the first floor, or second in this sense, is the original hopper, the hopper where all the items end up on. This can be powered and all the items will spit out and fill this room up, but I want the items so that I can grab them and pick the ones I want and kind of go, okay, I want the Nuka-Cola, I can sell that. But yeah, so it can be powered, which is a good thing. I might do that at some point. Next is floor 3, and this floor is the top of the hopper, so I didn't want to put the hopper into one floor. I wanted to have it in 2 separate floors so it all fit together. So if you notice, each floor is going to be quite symmetrical, because I used the elevator itself as the ruler. So I used the elevator to map out each sort of square on the floor, so the entire building is symmetrical, perfectly symmetrical. So if you can see here, the entire building as it goes up is just symmetrical. That leads to basically being able to do this properly when you have the holes in the ceiling being perfectly suited for the drop and for the, you know, from the top to bottom build. Obviously it's not essential, you don't need it, but I went for this build, which is pretty cool. So as you can see above here, we have a shack floor because I couldn't put a prefab floor in there for some reason. It wasn't being fair on me, but I put a shack floor there, and basically that blocks it from going straight down into the hopper here. And we go up to the next floor. I believe it's the 4th. And this is where the door button itself is. So I press the button here. I have experimented having the button downstairs, which works too, but I just like having it here. It has its own floor basically. I like the idea of that. Then you move on to the next elevator set, which is here, up to the 2nd floor here, or I think it's the 6th floor now at this stage. And this is the first of the two sort of ramps here that stop the lunchboxes getting too jammed. They're always going to get jammed, that's the way the physics work in this game, but they don't get too jammed, so that's good. I did have windows here before that I was going to use to chuck grenades out of, but I found the launcher on the next floor to be far more practical and more to the build itself. It was more realistic. And you notice that there's a lot of these power pylons and no power generators anywhere. You'll soon find out why, because I hate generators. So this is the atrium where the grenades are launched from. So the grenades itself it's kind of done in a weird way, but it goes through this pylon switch, and the pylon switch puts the energy goes through to a delayed off switch, and that delayed off switch goes for 2 seconds. So you press the switch, it lasts 2 seconds, which is just enough time to launch one grenade, because I didn't want to press this and it just shoot grenades as will and I turn it off. I wanted to be able to press the button and fire a singular grenade each time. Just another thing that I wanted to add in. It works pretty good, so I liked that. I was quite impressed with that one. And then we're on to the final set of the elevator. So we go up to what would be the 8th, 7th floor now, and this one here is simply the chute hole for the lunchbox themselves. I didn't want the lunchboxes to just go straight down onto the ramp. I wanted more space and more freedom for it to fall a bit more, to make it more aesthetically pleasing. The next floor up is the factory itself, where the lunchboxes are being produced. Now, like I said earlier, you can build as many of these as you want, as little as these as you want, and just do it that way. But these are really cool because you can just have the hopper. And what I plan to do next is to build a hopper that sucks the workshop from down here and builds all the way up the side of the building, which is going to be awesome. And I think I've spoiled the next floor, but that is what's powering this entire building. So I've linked the entire building up with conduits like this at the edge, and it's powered the entire building with minimal wiring. Obviously this floor needs wiring, there's nothing really much you can do with that, but it looks awesome. The wiring is done in such a way that it looks cool, and none of the rest of the floors have much wiring at all, if not any. The elevators are all connected to each other with minimum wiring, 1 wire per elevator, and then you go up to the 4th floor, and we can see I've got my back energy, which is powers all the back of the building, and then the front energy, which comes out here and out here to power basically a symmetrical sort of idea. I just like the idea of it being symmetrical. And then you have the hopper up here as well that I can add my own stuff to. I can power. I'm going to put a switch down here that activates that hopper as well, just to add that in there. And that's pretty much it. It did take me 3 days, but it was mostly to conceptualize. I did have a few crazy errors where because it's all one singular building, if you go to grab something and accidentally hold down the button, because I have habit of holding down X to move things around at times, it moves the entire building and you die because the fall, but also the building pieces just all mesh together and you end up dying, which is never good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It did take me a lot of work, so I'd appreciate any feedback, any likes. Again, one more time, thanks to Skooled Zone for his video. It's a good idea. And I look forward to making more videos like this going forward. Obviously, Fallout 76 coming soon, so that'll be nice as well. I might have some building videos for that as well. Leave a comment and like if you enjoyed this, and be sure to subscribe as well. And I'll see you in the next video. This floor here, behind this wall, let me just get it up. Behind this, I need to be careful with this one. No,